I wake up every day with two missions in mind. How do I make my bosses more money? And how do I get some of it?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Charge the Game podcast. And we got to discuss Stephen A. Smith. As Stephen A. Smith, man, may be looking more outward than inward. And what do I mean by that? His contract, which I feel like is a fairly decent contract of $18 million, may not be enough to keep Stephen A. Smith at ESPN. Let's dive into this video to elaborate more on this. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Stephen A. Smith, $18 million ESPN contract offer. Now, you guys know, man, Stephen A. Smith, man, he's been the man with the plan for a while. We know that he has like 10 hats over there at ESPN. I think right now he's at 12 million or something like that. I remember he went from like 8 million to 10 million. Now he's at 12 million. But I do think that think about this, guys, for 2 hours a day for his main show, First Take, 2 hours a day. I mean, you're making some pretty good money. But let's not excuse the fact that he is overworked for the most part. And, you know, Stephen A. Smith looked at his contract. To him, it's not suitable because he has to feed his ego, right? Stephen A. Smith wants the Pat McAfee money. And I'm going to break down and give a take that a lot of people may not agree with, but it is the flat out truth. ESPN has reportedly offered Stephen A. Smith a 5-year deal worth $18 million per year, which would make the host of First Take one of the highest paid talents at the network. Now, in my mind, you got people that would, have $18 million offered to them over a 5-year deal. You're getting this per year. Okay, per year. So that's pretty damn good, right? Obviously, it's a big jump, $6 million up from his current pay right now. But it goes on to say, but that might not be enough to get the deal done. Smith reportedly wants a deal worth $25 million per year. That's double Smith's current reported annual pay, which includes an $8 million base salary and another $4 million from a separate production contract. Obviously, Stephen A. Smith is looking at what Pat McAfee got, and he feels like that he does a lot of more work, except you didn't do the work that Pat McAfee did to get him where he is. And now that Stephen A. Smith is doing it, it makes sense why he's starting a podcast, because how did Pat McAfee really get this lucrative deal? And this is another report where it pretty much goes into what Pat McAfee is getting. Many had believed that McAfee's deal with ESPN was worth $17 million per year, but Puck's report stated that the figure for all of McAfee's services, licensing his show and his appearances on College Game Day, pays the former NFL punter closer to $30 million annually. So Stephen A. Smith wants that, but Stephen A. Smith isn't in that lane with Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee knew how to diversify himself from the jump, and he also, to be fair, was his own man, right? We saw Pat McAfee put his own money behind his production, which is what Stephen A. Smith is doing now. But Stephen A. Smith put the carriage before the horse when Pat McAfee took his time, put the carriage and the horse in proper position, and now he's just straddling along these millions, baby. And Stephen A. Smith obviously has a problem with that. But Stephen A. Smith, you didn't start your YouTube show and create the wide range fan base that Pat McAfee did. So you got to look at it that way. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at like how Shannon Sharpe is, how he just got the deal he got because of Club Shay Shay. He's become a media mogul. He's like gold to people that put their hands on Shannon Sharpe or touch anything of his product. Is going to be guaranteed because of his personality. And Stephen A. Smith, I don't know if he has a lot of relationships the way that Shannon Sharpe does. It surely seems that he rubs a lot of the ex-athletes, previous athletes, and current athletes the wrong way. So you cannot compare your journey to a Pat McAfee. And they're looking at the numbers based off Pat McAfee by himself. And it's crazy because, like I tell you guys, man, Stephen A. Smith does multiple things. I mean, this guy is hosting UFC. You see him in boxing. You see him NBA postseason, NFL, endurance season, NBA finals, NBA regular games. I mean, like stand after hours, halftime reports, post game reports, still being a journalist. It's like this guy is getting paid $12 million, but I promise you, it's like he's getting paid $1 million per job, which to me screams of a slap in the face. But let's look at how this happened for Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith, You showed them that you were too desperate. They fired you and you came back kissing ass. And now they got you where they wanted. Pat McAfee was a self-made man. He's not about to allow these CEOs, CFOs, VPs. He's not going to allow them to play with him the way that you did, because he came in with dignity, respect, and a flat out attitude like, I'm going to make my money regardless, with or without y'all. Eventually a TV network is going to pick me up, pay me the money I want, and you guys are going to regret it. So what did ESPN do? They had to crunch the numbers. They had to give this guy his credit. So they have to give this guy what he's worth. He's not showing desperation. Stephen A. Smith showed desperation. And because Stephen A. Smith showed desperation, it's why he's not being taken serious at the negotiation tables. I mean, you got to put that on yourself. You stretch yourself thin. Your hairline is steadily going back because you are overworking yourself. It's like you're addicted to working for people who don't appreciate your value. So Stephen A. Smith has to chalk this up and look at himself in the mirror, man, because like I tell you guys, when does this guy actually get off? Because every time I turn around, I see this guy podcasting for himself. He's doing this, he's doing that. And it makes sense on why Stephen A. Smith is developing an exit strategy, building up his YouTube at a rapid rate. I think he's almost at 800,000 subscribers, and that's good for him. But had he done it prior, before it got to this point, and I'm sure it's going to keep ascending, Stephen A. Smith is good for ESPN, primarily because he can talk a lot about the things that most Caucasian people won't talk about. And that's just the judgment of most black athletes. We all know how Stephen A. Smith will get down, and he's an industry plant. Okay. So like I told you guys in my video about the Caitlin Clark, I think that Stephen A. Smith is just being more outlandish, saying what he wants to say because he doesn't got the contract that he wants. So you guys can no longer control me. And if I'm going to be on my way out, I might as well talk about the things that I'm passionate about, whether they rub you guys wrong or not. And I think that's what Stephen A. Smith has been doing as of late. Meanwhile, we got to get back to Shannon Sharpe, as you know what, Stephen A. Smith, you have to tread lightly, because this guy, Shannon Sharpe, man, they're looking at him like a quarterback situation. Okay, we got somebody that's your backup that's, if not more talented than you. And if push comes to shove, we'll gladly give him that money, because Shannon Sharpe just wants to be on TV. Okay, Shannon Sharpe wants to add on to all of the other hustles that he has. As long as it's a fair deal, Shannon Sharpe is going to work with them. But see, Stephen A. Smith's ego is going to get in the way of that. And he needs to watch that, because you got a guy like this. I mean, it is what it is. It's just like you're applying for a job and you don't get the job because somebody else will do the same work for cheaper. So Stephen A. Smith, mind you, you need to look at that, because Shannon Sharpe, hey, he might be QB2, but he sure got his eyes on QB1, and you are QB1. So don't lose your setting or your footing because of your ego, man. And Shannon Sharpe is pretty smart, man, because he won't even air what he's making. Obviously, he said that the interview on Club Shay Shay, it paid him more than an NFL salary. So that alone lets me know that this guy is in good hands. Okay. It goes on to say, being part of this family has been a blessing. Shannon Sharpe said, everything about this relationship with ESPN, Stephen A. and First Take has been tremendous. I look forward to expanding my role, showing more of the world what I have to offer. The show goes on. And that's what's up. This is what ESPN wants to hear. They want to hear people come to the table, be thankful, and build a collaborative relationship that'll help them, make this business bigger and also put more money in your pockets. We can't give everybody Pat McAfee money. You know what I'm saying? Pat McAfee is like a golden goose, like a Caitlin Clark, man. Like, you don't get those a dime a dozen. And I think that Shannon Sharpe is actually more talented than Stephen A. Smith, and he comes off as more authentic than Stephen A. Smith. I just think that he's doing his due diligence, and he's going to allow Stephen A. Smith to hang himself. It's so crazy to watch a guy like Stephen A. Smith go out like this, especially when he thinks like this.
I got something very simple to tell you that I figured out that I think will work for anybody in the world of corporate America and beyond. I wake up every day with two missions in mind. How do I make my bosses more money? And how do I get some of it?
See, you're selling your soul, dude. I mean, goodness gracious, do you wake up and thank God first? He said, I will go with two things on my mind. I'm like, okay, I hope it's to thank God, brush your teeth. Those should be the first two things on your mind. Meditation, a workout, or something like that. You immediately wake up with this type of desperation and you want a $25 million contract. You already told the world what you wake up thinking about. You're thinking about us, and we're comfortable knowing that you think about us. So we're going to be comfortable keeping you comfortable. and your pay will be comfortable. So you guys tell me what y'all think on this Stephen A. Smith situation, as he looks like he's going to be in a contract war for some time. You know, maybe they'll renegotiate, give this guy a $20 million deal or something like that, and he'll be satisfied with that. Hopefully this will work for Stephen A. Smith, man. And we don't want to see Stephen A. Smith really leave ESPN, because he is the golden goose over there. I'm not going to lie about that. But I want to hear you guys' takes. I want to hear you guys' comments. So drop them in the comment section and let me know how you guys feel about this situation. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and also see you guys next time. Peace. Yeah.